I'll be honest, this video is painful for me to make. I've been a Warcraft fan since 1994. The universe those crazy kids from Baby Blizzard made all the way back then has been my virtual home away from home for going on 18 years. That's a lot of time and a lot of love. I'd like to think I represent the majority of the player base for the game. I'm not a casual, nor am I hardcore. I don't min-max. I consume the vast majority of lore content available outside of the game. I watch a lot of YouTube content creators. I am not a mythic raider, and I suck at PvP. This playstyle has been my mainstay since I started playing all those years ago, and I think it gives me the perspective that so many others have as well. Our beloved Azeroth has fallen on some hard times. True critics of the game, note I'm not talking about the losers who could find fault in anything, including the hotness of Valeris Sanguinar. And just want the game to fail. I'm speaking for those that want Azeroth to return to its former glory. That game where we would kill just to spend a few hours in grinding away at whatever project or goal we happen to be working on. It was fun to waste our time in Azeroth. Now, not so much. The past several years have not been kind to Warcraft, and I would like to say up front the problems they've been having as a company behind the scenes should be separated from this commentary. This video will be concentrating on in-game problems and in-game solutions, though there is no doubt that Blizzard needs to clean up its act and make the working atmosphere desirable again. No more cubicle crawls, degradation, and outright illegal behavior. Get your shit together and start making great content again. Today I'd like to lay out 5 ways to make this game fun again. 5 ways to re-engage the lifers and make them want to log in as well, as entice new players and not make them want to ram hot pokers into their eyes after trying to figure out what the hell they're supposed to be doing and why they're supposed to be doing it. I hope you agree. Even if you don't, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. At least YouTube hasn't changed that algorithm, so show me some love and click that thumbs up and ring that bell. Everything I'm going to talk about in this video naturally flows from this first suggestion. Warcraft has got to pump the brakes a bit, especially on the story direction and how they present that story to the players. Let's be honest, Shadowlands is a mess. It is a convoluted story with an uninteresting villain, and that's putting it mildly, that seemingly has been responsible for 90% of the major developments through Warcraft's history. Whether or not the jailer meticulously planned all of this or he's just the ultimate opportunist doesn't matter. It's still a terrible, rushed plot that undermines the story that most of us fell in love with all those years ago. The extra swig of piss added to this jug is that we've gone from Azeroth-centric stories and plots to cosmic-sized universal plots in less than one expansion. They jump from C to Z rapidly and make it more confusing and less interesting to boot. Whatever the next expansion is, they need to bring the story back home and let us fix the many plot threads that have been dangling for 18 years. While they're doing that, they need to focus on reeling the players that have left over the past several years back and lure new ones in, without throwing them into the deep end of the pool. Let's face it, there is a ton of story and lore that any new player wouldn't have the slightest clue on how to tackle, much less hook them enough to want them to keep playing. The chronological telling of the story, as you move from zone to zone, is a mess, even with the latest Chrome feature allowing you to pick which expansion you play through. How do you do this? Well, let me tell you about idea number 2. Imagine, if you will, that any player, regardless of level, could find every cinematic ever created for the game, including expansion and patch cinematics, as well as every in-game one played at important questing points, even the amazing Wrathgate, in one place in the game. Now add in a 10 to 15 minute synopsis of every book ever written in the Warcraft universe, complete with voice acting in the same spot in-game. This would be an amazing addition to the game. How much time could you spend in a great library in Stormwind, or Orgrimmar, or Silvermoon, or Dalaran, or Suramar, watching and or listening to all of your favorite Warcraft moments? New players would have everything they need at their fingertips to finally have some understanding of why they're doing what they're doing and who they're doing it for. Who the hell is Bolvar? Now you know. Don't know why you should get excited about fighting for or against Sylvanas? Now you do. This should be treated as an immersive digital archive of everything media related for World of Warcraft, all in-game and easily accessible for all players. I understand they still have to sell books, so implement a 6-month grace period for every new book release. After 6 months, put it in the library. You can even have these in dungeons and raids. I'm thinking specifically of Karazhan, Dire Maul, and the Scarlet Monastery. Would this take an extraordinary amount of time to build and implement in-game? Yes, it would. Do I care? No, I do not. Blizzard, now Microsoft, has the resources to do this. They lack the will and commitment to do it. Mike Ibarra, Blizzard's new commander-in-chief, was just quoted saying that the company wanted to put the player base back in the forefront. Well, this would be a great start to that pledge. Since the game started, the vast majority of the library spaces in-game have been deserted, with only a few NPCs scattered in over the years. Time to utilize that space and throw some money at the incredible voice talent that has brought all of our favorite characters to life for over a decade, and let them do what they do best. Who wouldn't want to hear Laura Bailey read a synopsis of Arthas to us, or Patty Mattson as Sylvanas? The only problem would be the lag generated if too many people decided to hop in the library at any given moment. But they're smart, they can figure it out. The bottom line is that you want to pull from the rich Warcraft story and universe into one place, so that players, new and old, have somewhere to go and try to make a little more sense of what's going on around them. Look, I've been beating this drum for years now, and so have a lot of other people. Let's face it, the only reason that Blizzard hasn't implemented this feature in-game is just unabashed, stubborn pride. The tech exists, the artwork exists, phasing exists. It's all right there for utilization. Anyone at Blizzard is lying if they try to peddle the nonsense that this couldn't be done. And if anyone wants to pipe in with garrisons, please see yourself out. You're a moron, and no one with a brain has time for your crap. There are a ton of reasons why player housing is needed right now, but let me just underscore the most important ones. First of all, the game is hemorrhaging players. Blizzard's hyper-focus on systems that A, usually end up making the game worse, and B, no one wants to invest in, has resulted in the vast majority of the player base logging in just out of habit and then realizing 10 seconds later that they have nothing to do and then promptly logging out. That's exactly what happened to me. The last time I logged into Retail WoW, other than to record footage for this video, was months ago. I told myself I'd do some mount runs in a few dungeons just to see if I'd get lucky. I did none of them and logged out after staring at my monitor for about a minute. I like to think of player housing as transmog on crack. Remember when transmog was introduced and everybody and their brother was out in the world again running old content, trying to farm those difficult green BOE world drops, just for the joy of it? Now imagine the global response from players if they could log in and get their own house, in the architectural design of their choosing. I would have all the original races available at launch, and then add in allied races, if it was needed, at later intervals. In the zone of their choosing. Blizzard could then add about 1 billion different styles of beds, tables, chairs, kitchen sets, sofas, artwork, etc. to every bit of content in the game, including making the patterns of recipes world drops, or rare boss drops, or available only during holiday-themed windows of opportunity. You could then give players the opportunity to expand the size of their homes to incorporate trophy rooms or areas where they could concentrate on their own professions. Want your guild to see your place, or your best bud? Simply invite them to a group and check it out. There's 1 billion ways they could do this. All of it would give casual players, which is the vast majority of the player base, past and present, something to focus on. It would be the most beautiful time sink in the history of MMOs. Azeroth was made for this type of interaction. People have a very real virtual connection to this world, and this would be the ultimate love letter to the players. Give them a way to make themselves a part of their favorite fictional world. All Blizz has to do to make this work is 1. Put it in the game. 2. Do not, let me repeat, do not tie this to any questing experience or player power progression. Never, don't do it, do not do it. Don't do it, Blizzard. That was the major reason Garrisons failed. Treat it just like pick battles and transmog. How many transmog items have you ever had to acquire, or pets did you have to battle to make any type of meaningful progress in the game? Exactly. 0. They are completely independent systems that exist solely for the enjoyment of those players that love to engage in it, exactly like player housing should be. I've become pretty obstinate about this, to the point where I will not buy another expansion unless it includes player housing and player housing done right. I'm not going to sit here and try to make anyone believe I know what I'm doing when it comes to PvP. I suck at PvP. I remember having these grand goals of attaining the sexy PvP rank titles when Vanilla Classic launched. Yeah, That did not happen. At all. However, having said that, I do think I'm competent enough to understand that there are a ton of PvPers out there that are not happy with the current state of PvP, especially World PvP, where some of the most legendary stories have unfolded through the years. I think I've stumbled onto a way to address a couple of the problems with one feature. First of all, I think War Mode was a hell of an idea. No, seriously. I may be the only cat on the planet that thinks that, but whatever. I stand by my words. The ability to phase everyone that has it toggled on or off is brilliant, and a great way to let people pick their own poison. The second component of this is flying. If I could go back in time and stop Blizzard from introducing flying, I would, but that duck went over the waterfall a long time ago, and there's no going back. Instead of just rolling with it, however, Blizzard now expects everyone to jump through a crap ton of hoops that are all time-gated, for anyone to be able to hop on a mount and take to the skies. That needs to go. We all know Blizz put a lot of time and effort to making the game look pretty, but they need to just let players pay a few coppers to unlock flying, or one simple quest that essentially says, yeah, go talk to that dude over there and get your new expansion saddle. That should be it. Make it simple and let players enjoy the scenic views. Now, here's where things could get fun. An easy unlock for flying should be available for PvEers and PvPers. However, if you turn on War Mode, things become a bit more complicated. Imagine, if you will, you're flying along and you cross over into Duskwood because you're headed to heroic Zul'Gurub, because that blasted raptor mount refuses to drop and your mind is calculating how the RNG gods are going to screw you over one more time. And then this happens. Well, that was fun. You completely forgot about Warcraft's new open world PvP system, and that every zone has towers spread throughout it, and those towers will blow your ass out of the sky. There's no evading, there's no fancy flying. If you're on a flying mount, you get lit up. Blizzard wouldn't have to do a lot to make this happen. Think of all the zones that have random unused towers littering the landscape. Copy and paste that design into a few dozen other locations around the zone and call it a day. So, you ask, how the hell do you get around this? It's simple. Get on the ground and go kill the NPCs around the one control tower in the zone and turn it off, or flip it to your faction's control. If you can control the zone tower, you can fly in that zone. If the tower is neutral, it won't fire on anyone. Otherwise, you're stuck on a ground mount throughout the entirety of your time in the zone. Obviously, you can still portal or be summoned to wherever you are headed. With this system, World PvP is not only invigorated, it becomes a necessity if you have War Mode activated. That is the key. I would design the NPCs around the control tower so that one person could take them out and flip the tower themselves. It would just take them longer to do it. The more people you have in your group, the quicker your faction can control the skies in that particular zone. I think it would be a blast, and I would love to see this feature brought to reality, just to see the myriad of different ways PvPers could come up with to exert their will on the other faction. Throw in some daily or weekly PvP quests that reward honor for the number of towers you flip, and it's a win all the way around. If we're honest with ourselves, then it should be easy to state that crafting professions haven't been able to keep up since Wrath of the Lich King. Back in the day, the average player who couldn't commit to the serious schedules of guilds clearing Molten Core, AQ40, Nax, SSC, TK, and Black Temple could still find ways to get really good gear that made their average playtime all the easier to handle. Every crafting profession had a myriad of options for players, and you didn't have to step foot in a raid or run battlegrounds or arenas until your eyes bled. Crafting your own gear should also be the natural way for alts and or new players to get caught up, not systems. No one wants to spend hours reading guide dissertations on what they need to be doing and how they need to be doing it just so that you can possibly feel relevant or successful in the game. That's the stupid design methodology, and Blizz needs to rethink how the average player feels when they log in after 6 months, or the first time ever. If Blizzard were smart, they would ensure that professions were another path for the player base to pursue in order to achieve their in-game goals. Remember, the vast majority of players are not mythic raiders, nor are they PvPers. Crafting gear or gadgets or toys for yourself or others should be just as viable for player satisfaction as obtaining ahead of the curve is. Right now I'm having a blast in TBC Classic, and this example hit me the other day as I was crafting my own Breastplate of Kings. That's an epic chess piece available to blacksmiths that choose the armor smithing path while you're leveling. It's a damn good piece of gear, especially for someone that isn't a high-end raider. However, I'm in a pretty good guild that operates like a family, and we're well on our way to being ready to step into the Black Temple as soon as it opens up. I say all of this to make the point that if I was not in a really good guild and had no shot at acquiring game raid loot, this chess piece would be amazing. On top of that, you can upgrade it twice. Even better, the vast majority of the materials needed to upgrade it are things you can get on your own or in dungeons. The last upgrade is called the Bulwark of Ancient Kings. Now let's compare that to a chess piece that drops out of Black Temple, the Heart Shatter Breastplate, the only non-tiered chess piece in the whole joint, mind you. Is the Bulwark better? Probably not. Maybe. The Bulwark has more armor and 3 gem slots. Heart Shatter has none. The hit rating and critical strike rating are very comparable, but the extra on-use ability of the Bulwark is pretty damn cool. The point here is that armorsmiths can make gear just as good, if not slightly better, than the featured raid of the expansion. That's a very good thing, and it needs to be something that Blizzard goes back to. Does crafted gear have to be as good as the best raid gear? Not at all. I would actually argue that that would be a mistake, but it should be a viable alternative for players that don't have the time nor the guild to make progress in the penultimate raids. All of these suggestions are ways for Blizzard to introduce more options for players who want to invest their precious time in Azeroth. Blizzard should stop redesigning system after system every expansion as obstacles for players to have to barrel through, seriously impeding their enjoyment of the game. An ideal methodology has dozens of features that will appeal to some, thereby ensuring that as a collective whole, everyone has something fun to do in-game. You do not want to funnel everyone through one pinhole for an entire expansion just for an opportunity at enjoyment. As we are now seeing, people are fed up with that mindset. People are leaving this game in droves. Most would return if given a good reason. Some will not. For the last several expansions, Blizzard has built a one-lane dirt road to fun and littered it with the time gates, chore grinding, and giant bowls of suck. No one wants to deal with that. There are simply too many other good games on the market. Honestly, I did not enjoy making this. These are features that I would love to see added, or really any variation of them, something new and time investment worthy, especially player housing. My God, Blizzard, for all that's holy and pure, please add player housing. I know there are a ton of people out there, probably a good many of them at Blizzard, that have great ideas on how to make Warcraft the go-to MMO on the market, but for some reason their creativity has been stifled or drummed out. That's a real shame. My fear is that this stubborn mindset will be the thing that accomplishes what so many others have tried to do, kill off World of Warcraft for good. If you've made it to the end, thank you kindly for watching this video. As always, please don't be shy, hit that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe to my channel. Everyone have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Until next time.